Today's video has some good news on the property tax front, so take a listen. It's very interesting. And also let me know how you're going to get involved to make sure this passes in November. It's super important for Floridians. And also go to YouTube and follow Grant Warrington. He stays on top of all this stuff in Florida, so that's important.
DeSantis just ended Florida's dirtiest property tax trick, and these two new laws are going to make raising your taxes and hiding where the money's going nearly impossible. And you better believe everybody's panicking, because for the first time in Florida history, the power's shifting back to the people. In this video, I'll show you the sneaky formula local governments have been running for years to jack up your property taxes, the nonprofit that's been using your own tax money to keep you broke, and the trap DeSantis set that local governments just walked right into before the biggest vote of your life. Let's jump in. Local governments in Florida have been running the dirtiest trick for years that let them raise your property tax rate automatically. No vote, no press conference. You just find out when a bigger bill shows up in your mailbox. Here's how it works. Your property tax bill comes down to two things: your home's taxable value and something called a millage rate. Think of the millage rate as a multiplier. Here in St. Pete, the combined millage rate is about 20 mils, meaning for every $1,000 of taxable value, you owe 20 bucks in taxes. So take a $300,000 taxable value, divide it by 1,000, multiply by 20, and you get a $6,000 property tax bill. Pretty simple, right? Every year, your home goes up in value. And when it does, your tax bill goes up automatically, even if nobody touches the millage rate. Say your home went up $50,000 last year. With a homestead and the Save Our Homes cap in place, that's still an extra $180 out of your pocket. But here's where the trick comes in. Cities and counties figured out a way to get even more money by bumping up the millage rate. And even a tiny bump of just 1/10 of a mil on that same home adds another $30 a year in property taxes. That's on every house, every single year. And nobody notices in year one until 10 years go by and your bill's doubled and everybody's wondering, what the hell just happened? According to DeSantis, in 2019, local cities and counties collected $30 billion in property taxes across Florida. Today, they collect $60 billion. It doubled in 7 years. But your income didn't double, your city services aren't twice as good, crime didn't disappear, so where'd your money go? It went into bloated government budgets while the formula quietly did its job in the background every single year. That's not a tax policy, that's a racket. And that's the trick DeSantis just killed with these two new laws. And both of them are designed to supercharge the property tax amendment on the ballot in November. And the way he did it is gonna make every politician cry themselves to sleep tonight. The first law is Senate Bill 4F, and this one's big. Your county commissioner had one move: 3 votes out of 5 in a back room, and your tax bill went up. No public hearing, no asking you anything. Just 3 hands in the air and you owe more money. DeSantis just ended that game. Here's what happens now. If your county commission wants to raise the millage rate, they need 4 out of 5 commissioners to vote yes, just to raise it up to 10% above last year's rate. If they want to go even higher than 10% above last year, every single commissioner has to agree unanimously, or they put it on the ballot and let you decide. The people paying the tax now get to vote on the tax. Wild idea, right? That's never happened in Florida before. And here's why that matters so much right now. There's a property tax cut on the ballot this November for every homestead homeowner in Florida. And the first trick local governments were going to try to pull if this thing passed was to jack up the millage rate to replace the money they lost. DeSantis just made that nearly impossible. And here's the best part for me and you, but a nightmare for local politicians. This bill didn't have a start date. The minute DeSantis signed the bill in Bradenton, it became law. These politicians went to bed one night with one set of rules and woke up the next morning with a completely set of different ones. No warning, no grace period. No sneaking in one last hike before the deadline. But locking down the rate was only the first step DeSantis took. And the second step is even bigger, because it'll force every city and county in Florida to do something they've been fighting against for years. Hey, if you're new here, this is what I do. I break down what's really happening in Florida. No fluff, no filters. Hit subscribe now so you don't miss what's coming next. And if you want to go even further, become a Florida Patriot. You'll get access to the Warrington Report, my members-only show where I give you my raw take on the stories that matter most. Click join, and I'll see you on the inside. The second law DeSantis just signed is House Bill 1329, the Local Government Financial Transparency and Accountability Act. This was CFO Blaise Ingolia's bill, and it's about to change the way every city and county in Florida operates, whether they like it or not. Starting January 1st, 2027, the free ride's over. Every city and county in Florida has to put their complete financial picture online. Every dollar they spend, every employee and how much they make, every nonprofit they've been quietly writing checks to with your money. 5 years of it. And it has to be in a format you can actually read, not buried in a PDF nobody can open. Real numbers, real names, real salaries, and all downloadable. That means you're going to be able to pull up your city's budget on your phone and see exactly where your property tax money went. You can download the whole thing and drop it into AI and say, find me the waste. You can compare what St. Pete spends on consulting contracts versus Clearwater, find out which politically connected organizations have been getting checks from your commissioners year after year, all of it. Right there. It's all going to be sitting on their own website waiting for you to find it. For years, they hid behind complexity because they knew you'd never dig through a 400-page PDF. That was the whole plan. Make it impossible to find and nobody's going to ask questions. That ends January 2027. The books are opening and every politician who called fake transparency good enough is about to find out what happens when Florida patriots actually get to see where the money went. But there's still one more thing hiding inside this new law, and this one's gold. Before any city or county in Florida can adopt a final budget, they now have to hold a public workshop and find 10% in potential cuts on paper before they can ask you for another dime. Police and firefighter budgets, legal obligations, that's all protected. Everything else is on the table. And that exercise gets posted online at least 14 days before the final budget vote, so every Florida voter can see exactly what their commissioners looked at and chose not to cut. Think about what that actually looks like. Your city commissioner has to sit in a public workshop and explain why they're spending $150,000 a year to a company that books drag shows at the city theater before they can pass the budget. They have to justify the DEI consultants, the six-figure contracts with politically connected nonprofits, the feel-good social programs that didn't exist 10 years ago. All of it goes on paper in public before they can come back asking for more of your money. They don't have to cut it, but they have to own it out loud in front of you. And then it goes online. And here's where the timing of this matters so much. This November, every homestead homeowner in Florida votes on HJR 1F, the Save Our Homes from Excessive Property Taxes Amendment. If it passes, your non-school property tax exemption jumps from $50,000 to $150,000 in 2027 and $250,000 in 2028. That wipes out non-school portion of your property tax bill entirely for about 60% of Florida homeowners. And the legislature is required by law to develop a schedule for full elimination after that. DeSantis locked down the millage rate so they can't replace what they lose. He's forcing every city and county to open their books and justify every dollar in public before they can pass a budget. He set the whole thing up, and local governments walked right into it. He's trying to make your life more affordable, but he can't vote for you. Their best argument is already dead before they even make it. The formula's gone, the books are opening, the receipts are coming. All you have to do is show up in November and vote yes. But cities and counties aren't going to stop fighting that easily. They got a secret weapon you've never heard of that's funding the campaign against your own tax cut. Meet the Florida League of Cities. They're a lobbying organization made up of over 400 Florida cities. They're also a Florida nonprofit. Shocking, right? Miami, Orlando, Tampa, St. Pete, most Florida cities are members. And to stay a member, each city pays annual dues out of their operating budget. Those operating budgets are funded by your property taxes. So your property tax dollars flow into your city's budget. Your city takes a cut and sends it to the Florida League of Cities as dues, and the FLC uses that money to run campaigns to get you to vote no for your own tax cut in November. How is that even legal? And their whole argument, the same argument every local politician has been making for years, is that there's no waste to cut, that every tax dollar is essential, that if you touch their property tax revenue, we're going to have to get rid of police and close fire stations.
And you hear all this, oh, we're not going to be able to, we're going to have no police anymore. Do you honestly believe that? You honestly believe we're just not going to have police? I mean, come on, seriously.
DeSantis wanted to prove cities and counties are wasting your property tax money, so he put Florida's CFO, Blaise Ingoglia, in charge of FAFO, the Florida Agency for Fiscal Oversight. Their job's to go into local government budgets and find the waste. So far, FAFO's audited around 20 cities and counties across Florida. Red ones, blue ones, nobody's getting a free pass. What they found is over $3.7 billion in wasteful spending, and not a single dollar of it came from police budgets or fire stations. It was all the other stuff they've been hiding. And Florida has 67 counties. They're just getting started. Here's a few things they found. Miami-Dade County wasted $470 million in a single fiscal year. Palm Beach County wasted $1.2 billion since 2020, and for every family of four that moved there, their budget went up over $50,000. Flagler County added 80 full-time administrative employees as their budget exploded by 119%, while their population only grew by 29%. So the next time your mayor, county commissioner, or the Florida League of Cities runs an ad telling you that property tax relief will gut your city's services, ask them how many nonprofits with feel-good names or DEI social programs are funding. Listen, the only reason we're voting on a property tax cut this November is because of DeSantis. And these two laws weren't some last-minute idea. He's been building toward this for over a year. The property tax cut amendment's on the ballot, the millage rate formula is locked down, and every city's forced to open their books. He set the whole thing up, and he's got local governments on the ropes. That's not luck. That's Uncle Ronnie D doing his thing to protect Florida taxpayers. And listen, you're not going to want to miss what's coming next. So hit subscribe now before you forget. Then click here to learn about the Florida county that buried this before your property tax vote. I'll show you exactly what they're hiding and why it's got them so terrified, and why every school zone speed camera ticket you've paid has been secretly lining somebody else's pockets. Click here and I'll see you there.